What's up, my kings and queens? It's Andrew Velasquez with another episode of Mindful Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us back again. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us wherever you are streaming your favorite podcast. And that song you just heard, Mi Corazón, is my song written by myself, produced by Aaron McLendon. You can download Mi Corazón wherever you stream your favorite music. And for today, your one-stop shop for all things mindfulness, creativity, spirituality, while being an entrepreneur. I have a very, very special guest that I'm so excited to introduce you to you guys that I've looked up to for quite some time. But before I let them speak, let me give you a little bio. Yeah, let me talk about Michael DeVellis, you guys. So, who is Michael DeVellis? Founder and executive director of the Powder Group. As the founder of the Powder Group on Makeup Magazine and the Makeup Show, Michael DeVellis has the inside track on what it takes to make it big in the makeup artist industry. His more than 29 years of experience working with hundreds of top artists like myself, product lines, artist agencies, trade events, productions, and publications make him uniquely qualified to share an insider's perspective on the career of professional makeup artistry. He has worked on the development of programs and educated for such iconic beauty industry businesses such as P&G, Kerastase Paris, Uemura, Art of Hair, and Lancome Paris. He also served 10 years, you guys, with MAC Cosmetics, where he held multiple executive roles working directly with the pro makeup artist industry, including the position of executive director, artist relations, where he created and launched the MAC Pro line and retail concept. He recently held the position of vice president of the professional division at Makeup Forever, where he and his team oversaw the brand's professional development in the Americas, including development of Backstage Card program, Pro Roadshow, Pro Social, and Pro event programs. His company, the Powder Group, an education and event production company based in New York City, launched in 2003 and since has produced educational programs and events in more than 20 cities around the US and Canada, including the American Beauty Tour, Makeup 101, 10 Words, the Artist Summit, and Evolution, featuring over 100 of industry's top makeup educators, you guys. Michael has also been a guest speaker at the industry's top trade shows, including International Beauty Show New York City, Color Mundo, Montreal, Pro Beauty UK, America's Beauty Show, and the Makeup Show events in Berlin, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City. Powder Group's print publication On Makeup Magazine, which I've been featured in, love that magazine, launched in 2008 with Michael as the editor creative director and has become known as the industry's most artist-driven trade publication featuring dozens of top makeup talents from around the world. Michael's diverse background and unique understanding of the creative business, interpersonal marketing, and branding skills that are essential to creating a successful career as a professional makeup artist enable him to share the must-have understandings of what's required to be a success in today's ever-changing pro makeup artist community. You guys, welcome, Michael DeVellis.
Well,
Bravo.
thanks. I don't know if we have anything else to say. That was my long bio. Sorry. I should have gotten you a shorter one.
No, I'm here for it. Well earned, well deserved. You're the man. I've followed you for such a long time, seen your career, and you're a hero. You're a hero in this industry. You're really like I don't know, like the Willy Wonka of makeup artists. You know what I mean? Like we gravitate towards you, and you develop this beautiful community that I've been a part of, and I'm so grateful for, and provide just really cool, educational platforms that is very unique and has survived 2008 recession, COVID, and we're here in 2023, 20 years later, and you're still
20 years,
thriving.
Andrew.
Still
You were
thriving,
just
my
a
guy.
baby when TPG was
I
born.
was a little Twinkie baby. I
A
was.
little
So
baby.
congratulations. Bravo. How
Thank
does
you.
it feel?
Exhausting. But I'm really grateful. When I started the Powder Group, it was because I was in that executive role with Mac,
Right.
and fell in love with the pro makeup community. I really hadn't focused on that in my work before Mac. I came in as an
Because you're not a
executive with
makeup
the
artist
brand.
yourself, right?
No, not. I mean, I did makeup when I was at Mac, because you do when
Hmm.
you're on the floor, when you're at, I ran the
Sure.
Saks Fifth Avenue location. I ran a mall store. I was operations manager for New York before I took on
Hmm.
the Mac Pro project with Frank Tuscan, who was one of the
Yeah.
co-founders of Mac.
Incredible.
And I fell in love with this passionate, creative, focused, driven community of makeup artists, and then realized that there was this big white space out there. for education and community that wasn't associated with a brand, but that was sort of broader. And so that's when I created the Powder Group. And that was, again, I started at Mac 30 years ago
I
and
love it.
left 20 years ago to start the Powder Group.
Hmm.
And so 30 years of my life have been focused on the beauty industry, specifically the pro side of it. And when you read through that bio and I think about the opportunities I've been provided, the work that we've done as TPG, the things I've been given the opportunity to do personally with many brands and many of the top artists in the world in different areas of focus. I feel grateful. It's gratitude, honestly. This is, I just talked to one of my brand partners this morning, and we talked about how this is a passion for me and about how they love being a part of what we do at TPG, because the people who are drawn to this organization, or me, or my other partners like James Vincent, are there because they're passionate. And because so
Right,
my
right.
brands know when they connect in with TPG community, they're connecting in with passionate people who want to support the brands that are supporting them back. So
Hmm.
exhausted, yes. Very fortunate, lucky,
Yeah,
lucky, lucky to be able to do this every day, and to be able to support artists and put spotlight on amazing talent
yeah.
like yourself. And so
Thank
and
you.
and to continue that celebration of artistry through our print publication, through our online and social media focus. And like you said, yeah, we made it through the pandemic, we made it through the strikes, we made it through all this other stuff that's been going on.
You
It's
survived.
it's a little bit crazy, but again, there's I always say, like, this is my plan A and my plan B. This is my heart, and so that's why I do it.
I mean, it's evident in everything that you exude, not only on the On Makeup Magazine platform, but when you're on stage and the community that you have developed. And I'm part of that. I'm super grateful. I love everything that you guys share. You have such diverse and inclusive artists that come from so many different backgrounds that provide so much different knowledge. So it's really a gray area and space that you've kind of capitalized, and I'm so proud of you. It's like,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm
That
like,
means a lot.
this is the man. Like, I think I need to be in this world. So
Okay.
no, I think this is exactly why I wanted to have you on my Florida's podcast. We've talked about a lot of spirituality and how we balance creativity, and I think you would be the perfect person to go into more of like the branding conversation, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
And so I have prepared a little bit of a keynote, because why not? We're dramatic like that. So I'm gonna set it up for you, for us, and then I'm gonna share the screen in 1 second. And it's just like a cool little project that I would love for our listeners to take advantage of us and um the knowledge that we have to share. So bear with me as I set it up. So I am fascinated with branding, marketing, all the things, and I think it's important to see the art in it. Not only as a cosmetologist and a hairstylist, makeup artist, should we see the art in that, but we should also see the art in marketing, because essentially we are marketing ourselves, we are marketing our brand, and we have to. How do we figure that out? So that's really where I want to help our viewers. Share
Welcome to my Zoom
screen.
world.
I know, babe. You're so good at this too.
Oh, necessity.
Yeah,
We've
I've been a
really
part of it.
enjoyed, while you're doing that, we've really enjoyed having the opportunity to produce so much virtually,
Hmm.
because it's given us, an opportunity to really connect with people who wouldn't have the opportunity in New York or LA, or, in a big city. So the virtual programming that we've been doing has been really, really nice for us to be able to connect in with so many different folks all over.
Yes, agree. You said it perfectly. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I have been part of your during COVID. That was like where I really fell in love with your mission statement and really saw the evolution of the community that you have developed. And um being the penultimate person to your COVID screening, and the person that closed your show was one of my biggest heroes, Francesca Tolo, and I was like the one before her, and then she was able to see a little bit of my work, and then you guys are talking about it, and I'm just like, what is happening here? But it's moments like that that are full circle for me, as this little makeup artist that started a long time ago, and now here I am 20 plus years later collaborating with heroes like. So I'm super grateful for that. I think you touched on that earlier, just practicing gratitude and always being kind and not leading your career with ego, just following the soul and what brings you passion, right? And so that leads me into this little project. Okay, so this is a keynote that I put together, you guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, you have the advantage of seeing this virtually. If you're listening to us on the podcast, I suggest you go to youtube.com/Andrew Velasquez and check it out. So here we go. This is our branding marketing presentation, and it's to showcase how you can figure out where you fit into your market and your product. So Michael, you called it white space. I'm calling it light space. What is that? It's a light space is a place where a company might have room to innovate in an industry due to unmet customer needs. So Michael, perfect example of working for other brands, seeing that they had their pro membership, but then where's everybody else? Like, where's beyond that? So can you touch a little bit on that? Like, when did that click and when did that have that aha moment for you?
Well, I think that, more than replacing something like the Mac Pro program, or, when I was at Makeup Forever, as we noted, I helped to recreate and rework the Backstage Card program. Rather than replacing things like that, or the opportunities that a community like Local 706 or 798 unions for makeup and hair, West and East Coast, it's more about adding on an opportunity, right? So it's not saying like this is replacing what you are already doing. It's saying we're going to provide something that is different than what you're getting there. Because at the end of the day, a brand's program that is a professional community is about selling their makeup, right? That's the bottom line.
Right.
The union's community is about support and taking care of their union members and getting them what they need and deserve for their work on their film and television projects. What I saw was that there was a lot of value in supporting the folks who maybe weren't at that level yet, who were going to be in the union or weren't a part of, even if they were a part of a discount program from a brand, they didn't feel the community piece of it because it was about a brand. And so when I started the Powder Group, it was really to find a way to bring all of those folks who already had some level of place within the industry, but also those who did not have place in the industry, and connect them. So we're really connectors, right? We connect artists to other artists, and we connect brands to the artist community that they want to reach, and vice versa, right? So I think that is really it. So it wasn't a click for me so much, but one of the main things for me really was, interestingly enough, 9/11, because after that happened, I thought a lot about where I was, what I was doing,
Yeah.
what is my purpose, what is my contribution to the world?
Mm-hmm.
Is it only going to ever be, I'd be a very well-off executive within that organization if I was still back. If I was still there, I've got friends there 30 years now. They're real comfortable. They're very happy.
Yeah.
But I saw an opportunity and a place that was not being satisfied. Were there trade shows already? Yeah, but they were more special effectsy and things like that, or hair shows. Were there magazines already? Yeah, but they were more special effectsy, or they were like hair magazines. And so I said, I want to produce a magazine for the people who love to celebrate the art of artistry. I want to produce a trade show that is about celebrating the artist and celebrating the artistry of that artist, not just about selling, about having a celebration together. And so it wasn't a click so much as a moment for me where I realized there was more that I wanted to personally do for in my life and with my career. And I fell in love with this community. So why not do it with that community in a way that has been
Yeah.
shown to work very specifically to organizations, but hadn't been done yet in a broader spectrum. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to find a way to bring it out there to everyone, instead of being very specific to people who could get to that community.
That's what I love about you. You've always been inclusive and making sure that you're diverse and representing people that are not represented, which I appreciate very much. And yeah, there's something so special about that. Number one, you took risks. Like as a human and as a career person and an entrepreneur, I think taking risks and seeing that you can step outside of your comfort zone to see where you can evolve and grow from opportunities. And I'm sure you had some struggles. It wasn't probably easy. Like you've learned from mistakes and discoveries, but I think through that you've developed growth. You develop this multi-dimensional community that is not only an online innovation, but it's also in person where you experience real, authentic, genuine artist experience. Like it's just so cool. Like I've never seen that anywhere else. So I just want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Light space, guys. So well said. And really quick for me, for the Mindful Artist podcast, like as I was researching and a fan of other podcasts, the light space that I realized was missing was this space for other creatives and entrepreneurs that do practice some form of creativity or spirituality and share the knowledge with others. Because I would listen to self-help development, I would listen to branding, but they were always like separate. There was never anything that housed all that together as a man of color, as a member of the LGBTQ community. And so I wanted to be that for everyone else. And so now I'm discussing this really cool journey with other creatives like yourself that are entrepreneurs to share that amazing journey. So well said. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Let's see if this works. Perfect. So things to consider, you guys, as you're figuring out what your brand is. What is your welcome note, your content, your about you, your vision, your mission, your product analysis, if there are products, your target market. So who's your client? Who's your customer that's going to be purchasing your product? Where are they located? What's the demographic? Your team, is it a one-person show? Is it multiple people? The services you're providing, projects, and then obviously your contact information. A visionary. I always love a good vision board or a mood board, whatever you want to call it, a storyboard. This is a great space for you to put together images and collages of things that you are trying to manifest and putting it out there into the universe, sensory driven. Not only are you visually like experiencing it, but putting it somewhere that you see it daily and then adding to it as it evolves. Your passion project might change. What would you say to that, Michael? Did you develop any kind of vision board for your brands?
Along the way, I just also can.
Okay.
I think that, yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Cool.
So many things, all the things, everything's coming up. So, in the beginning, I created a proper business plan. I didn't create a vision board.
Okay.
But it wasn't like a thing 20 years ago, right? As much as it is now. Now, like we just did we'd have one of our presenters, Aura Flores, did a vision, a dream board, like this vision board for 2024 session just the other day. Like we do a lot of that stuff
So
with the
cool.
powder group. Some of our programming includes it. A lot of our folks do it on their own with their own circles of friends or colleagues. So I feel like it's the idea of visualizing and pulling together stuff. We used to call it swipe, right? You'd pull swipe for a project. It's kind of like creating a mood board or something. And I did do that in the beginning. I looked at who was doing education. I looked at what communities were out there. And you'd see in my New York City smaller one-bedroom apartment, I'd have things all over the walls. And it would just be that. It wouldn't be a board, it would be a wall. And it'd be a wall full of stuff. And it would be, what are the programs that other people are doing? Because to your point, is very important. When you're planning to create, you have to understand who else is creating, how are they creating, what are they doing that's like you, and what is different about what you are going to offer. And so I was able to say, like, here's my calendar of like what I've done. No one else in the industry created Mac Pro with Frank Toscan. 0 other people. I'm the only one in the whole wide world.
Amazing.
One person.
Amazing.
So that was a thing. In the beginning, we were able to say, I come from this because I have the relationships with artists because, and that's very true to this day. Some of my longest relationships in this industry started from when I was at Mac.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that those have lasted as long. I put up on my board, I put who are the brands I wanted to work with? What are the brands that I want to include in? At the time, it was brands like Ket Cosmetics, founded by my friend Sheila McKenna. It was Makeup Forever. I respected and knew Danny Sands only through the industry and the legend that she is, and was then, especially as a part of the brand creation of Makeup Forever then. I put these brands up and I said, these are the people I want to work with. Did I get to work with all of them? No, but I certainly got a lot more than if I had started that way.
Agree.
And so I think that is important. I think it's important. I have a very dear friend who's an artist, and she sketches and draws all the time. And I said, you're always drawing, and she goes, yeah, sometimes I do that, like in the way of thinking about vision boards. Like I draw out the things I want to,
Oh, I
in
love that.
photos, and I instead of pulling them from magazines or swipe.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important piece. It's having a visual way of telling what you
Hmm.
want to create. It helps you to process it, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it'll just help you put the pieces of the puzzle together and see how it changes and progresses throughout your experience of developing your brand. So,
Mhm.
all right, your vision, define your superpowers. What sets you apart from others? What's making you unique? And like Michael touched on earlier, maybe there are other brands or products that you are trying to kind of aspire to be like, but necessarily don't want to copy them. Like you want to figure out like where you separate yourself from the others. And that for me, the Mindful Artist podcast was, I'm a man of color, I'm gay, and I have all this experience, and I have all these amazing people that I've worked with that I'd love to interview and share their expertise, because there isn't anything else out there like this right now. So and then as far as social media, I would recommend looking at your top 5 posts. For me, I focus on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. As an educator and instructor, I feel those are all platforms that I can utilize my strengths in. Um, and then after figuring out your top 5 posts from each of those, making sure that you figure out your fan base to outreach, pick 2 hashtags that you want to consistently use that are going to be specific to your brand. And then just keep posting and communicating, speak on the messages. I noticed when a year ago I launched and published my book and my makeup palette, including my followers with it and showing them like I'm in the lab, like I'm mixing product. This is how the pigments create. I'm testing it out on all skin tones. Like they really enjoyed being a part of the launch of it, which was pretty cool. What's your take on that?
I agree completely. And it's funny, every time I talk with someone about social media or produce a program that has someone talking about social media, I'm always like, oh man, I need to really make sure I do that more. I need to do this part. I need to talk
You
to
do that.
a
You
guy
do
and
that.
make
I
sure we're
follow
doing it.
you.
I agree very much about especially if you're a business and as an artist, you're a business. As a creative, you're a business. You really need to have something that, like our hashtag, that is the most one we use the most often is
Hmm.
we are the powder group. Um,
Yes.
it and it's
That's
and
powerful
it's
too.
it's a statement, right? It's powerful
Hmm.
because it's not like this is the powder group or I am the, it's like we are the powder group. And so that is a hashtag that we use as a business, but also a hashtag that our members use. So, if you're following We Are the Powder Group
Love that.
on Instagram, you're going to find that coming up, and you're going to see the posts from our members, you'll see the posts that we share. I want to comment on something you said about on this screen. It's,
Yeah.
it says speaking on message and selfie and product on brand. So selfie, pictures of yourself are so important. It's so
Hmm.
odd when I go to an artist's Instagram and I can't figure out what they look like because
Right.
it's all pictures of their work or their kit or
Which
their
is
product
great.
that they love. It's really an important piece. It's impossible to do your job as a creative without being in front of your client.
Mm.
You are
Hmm.
going to be present to do your job. You're going to be physically in front of someone. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want them to understand a little bit about your visual energy? And I think that is a piece that is always surprising to me. When we host a program, if I've got 12 people coming in for boot camp and maybe I don't know one or two of the artists who are coming, they're new to our organization or they're
Yeah.
from the union, they're coming in, I'm going to do some research. So when they walk in the door, I can say, hi, Lisa, it's so nice to see you. But if I can't find a picture of you on your social media,
You're like, who?
it's strange to me. So it is so important. And it also, Andrew, humanizes the fact that you are putting out all this
Yep.
business content.
Yep.
It's an important piece of it. It really is. So I just want to emphasize that selfie
Thank
piece.
you. No, that's
Absolutely.
great. It's funny, as the top bullet point says, to look at your top 5 posts for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. As I was researching mine, not only in the past year, 2 years, or whatever, the top 3 ones, me and my husband, me and my
Yeah.
husband, me and the dogs. Like, not the 9-hour body makeup that took me forever and 360 degree and conceptualize the whole thing, and none of that. No, it was just like the human everyday today thing of, what is Andrew and his husband doing? What are they up to? Oh, they're walking the dogs now, like,
Yeah.
which is fine. So it's you hit a great point, is the the audience wants to get to know, yes, the portfolio, the expertise, but who is this individual? How can I relate to them and their product and their portfolio?
And I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say
You're
this,
good.
it is such an overwhelmingly crowded field, right? No matter what area of makeup artistry or hair you're in, um, if you're an actor, if you're a fine artist, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
dancer, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
performer, every creative field is packed, is so full. So
Yeah.
how do you stand apart aside from just the talent?
Yeah.
Assuming all things equal from a talent standpoint, from a skill set standpoint, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
hire the person I like the most and I want
Yeah.
to be around and I want to
Yeah.
feel connected to. So the only way to do that is through showing images of your life and who you are. And I think, people who say they don't post anything about their personal and their business stuff together. And I say, well, that's a shame because, you are your business and your business is you
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways as a creative. And I think it's really important that you share those pieces because it allows people to get to know you, not
Yeah.
just your work. And again, to that point, every big artist I've ever asked the question of how do you choose a team? How do you decide an assistant? Everyone says it has something to do with the fact that they like the person, they want to spend
Yeah.
time with that person, they are a good person, they are kind, they are humble. These are the words that come out, not the most talented person in the room is the person I'm going to hire.
Yeah. And it could just be sprinkled out through your platforms, you
Yes,
guys. It doesn't have to
absolutely.
be like every single post, but once in a while, like, showcase your personality. So
Yeah,
cool. Thank you so much
love
for
that.
sharing on that. I love all the insight you're giving us too. All right. So the next topic is, I like to call it Iconica because I like to turn everything to a drag queen name because why not? And this is logo 101. So you guys, your logo should stand out in a retail environment if that's your target market, uh and even from a distance. So as you're like in the entrance of Sephora or Mac Cosmetics, can you see that iconic logo from that entrance? And if the answer is yes, then that's a 100% great logo. So what's your take on logos and icons and all that fun stuff?
Well, I feel like number one, you're absolutely right. It has to be something that's very recognizable and it has to be something that is consistent. There's two words in branding that are the most important. That's consistency and repetition. And so when I'm teaching about branding and marketing, I ask people, how do you write your name? I don't even call it a brand. I don't call it a logo. I say, how do you write your name? Because Angela
Nice.
Spreads is your brand, but it's
Yeah,
also
you're
your
right.
name. So
Yeah.
I said, how is your name visible on your website? And I say, is that the same way it is on a business card, which I still think are important, paper business cards.
Sure. Sure.
It's another way of branding. It's another way of
Hmm.
connecting to someone. It's another way of having someone remember who you were.
Yeah.
Is it the same on your website? Do you have it on your social media somewhere?
Hmm.
I've got, this is our, look at me, like
I
forget
love the
cameras.
fonts. I
So this
love
is
the
the Powder
fonts.
Group's logo. This logo was created 20 years ago. And
Amazing.
it's sort of surprising to me because at the time, my friend John and I, who designed it together, we wanted it to be timeless, but somehow this has become even more than timeless. Like it's
Hmm.
still, I would have created this logo today. It would have felt just as fresh. You should use something that is easily legible. You should use
Hmm.
something that is very visually interesting. And you have to understand color and what color emotionally means to people. If this card was not, eggplanty and celery-ish, if it was pink and gray, if it
Right.
was red or blue, it would feel very different.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel as clean and modern and timeless because
Welcoming. Yeah.
and it also red calls to mind something, pink calls to
Hmm.
mind something.
Hmm.
So choosing the way that you write your logo and also legibility. I get so many business cards or I go to websites and the names are in cursive or they're too thin of a font or they're too small of a font.
And you're
You
like
have to
trying to
know
read
if
it,
I can't
squinting your
remember you
eyes. Yeah.
if I can't read it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So and as far as icons go, we have a TPG icon, which is the same font, capital and the same colors
Hmm.
because sometimes we use that just for like our icon on our
Little
social media or
watermark.
something.
Yeah.
But having a thing like a swoosh as Nike or an arch, M as McDonald's, those
Hmm.
are things that are very important when you're a very big public facing company that has a high level of visibility and wants to
Yeah.
make sure that you're finding a way to have people recognize you immediately with that. But it's as an artist, it can be equally important and interesting, provided it's custom and something unique to you. Going to a business card website or Canva or something and saying like, I'm just going to pull a stock image or a stock makeup brush or a stock eye, image, that doesn't work because that's not
Right.
unique to you.
Right. Well said, my man. Thank you. And that is pretty much the presentation. Just some last things that I would want to, which we already kind of shared in the beginning, was being, grateful, humble, practicing gratitude, be humble in your business, behave like you can't afford the load of bread, but in fact, you own the bakery.
Mm.
So that way you're just kind of like inclusive and practicing that kindness day to day. And I feel like that's why Powder Group has lasted so long, because you are genuine, you are kind, you do provide this safe space, and you feel the love, whether it's virtual or in person on a platform. I've always felt very, very welcomed, and I love that. So that's why I continue to come back to the Powder Group.
I'm happy that you do.
So
Our community is happy that you do.
yeah, thank you. So I'm going to stop sharing. So let's get a little personal, and talk about Michael. And so this leads me to asking, what kind of practices or routines do you have in place to nurture your creativity, or spirituality while running your business?
It's an interesting question because I consistently battle with finding my time for that, right? And we all do running a
Yeah,
business. My business is
I love the
multifaceted.
honesty.
I work with brands, I work with artists, I
Hmm.
produce education, I publish a magazine. Um, and I do a lot of that myself. I've got, three or four art people who are work with the Powder Group
Yeah,
to support the business in various ways, but it's not a full-time job for anybody but myself.
no. Hmm.
And I'm the one who has to make sure everything gets done. So I'm doing everything. So I think, it's a long way of answering your question, but to be honest, I don't do it enough. I know I'll,
That's okay.
yeah, my time is, and it sounds silly, my time that is my time
Hmm.
is time with my husband and I.
Yeah, we love your
And
husband. What's your husband's name?
Brad.
Let's give Brad a shout out.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
Brad's
a
the
good
best.
guy.
We all love Brad. Our community loves
Yeah.
Brad too. And whether we're watching a movie or we're
Hmm.
going out for dinner, that is energetically spiritual for me. That is
There you
something that
go.
brings me back to me. And I think spirituality is something that allows you to bring yourself back to you, right? It's
Yeah.
something that, whether it's religion or yoga or meditation or
Hmm.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I have tools, I have crystals, and I have all the things. I have decks,
Yeah.
and I've got the stuff. And occasionally I'll do that. In fact, having had this conversation, I'm going to pull one of my decks out and do a reading for
It's
myself
a good
before we're
time.
wrapped up.
New moon has upon us. Yes.
Exactly. And I think that one of the tricks that I use is when I want to find time for something, whether it's exercise, whether it's some sort of fitness
Hmm.
or wellness, I have to leave things in my way. I have to
Yeah.
leave, it's an energetic post-it note. If I go, and I see free weights on the floor next to my desk, I'd be like, why don't I do a little workout right now in
There you
between
go.
meetings?
Kind of sprinkle
If I
them
leave it,
throughout.
exactly, if I leave the deck out, I'll do a reading. If I don't leave the deck out, it's tucked away in a drawer and I won't think about it. So
Hmm.
that is my way of finding the time to take some stuff for me. I do breathing. I do walks. I try to do a
Hmm.
walk every day without
Nice.
electronics, with no social media, no music. We live in a beautiful historic neighborhood, and so it's lovely to do just to walk about. And I think those
Yeah.
are the things. I think that people find it difficult to make time for these things because they think they need to carve out an hour, right? They need to take a whole lot of time to do something. That doesn't work that well for me. And so what I try to do is, oh, it's a beautiful day right now. I don't have anything for
Hmm.
2 hours. I'm going to have a walk right now.
There you go.
If I had scheduled that for 1 o'clock, I wouldn't end up doing it at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But that
Things
works
come
for some
up.
people. For me, it's about finding the place and time and putting things in my sight line so I see them and think about doing them.
I love it. That's great. All right. So leading on to a little more of the mindful questions. How do you measure success in both your creative and entrepreneurial pursuits? And do they overlap in any way?
Um, I would say from an entrepreneurial standpoint, which I think also my creativity is the creation of On Makeup Magazine.
Right.
It's the creation of programming. It's,
Hmm.
yes, I have supplies to create art. Um, Planned on
There's an
doing a
art to the
whole lot of
operations
that.
of that too, though.
Yeah, and I planned on that, and I keep the stuff in my way, so I have to move it in order, and so I touch it, and I still don't do enough of my creative stuff, but I promised myself I would start once a week this year, and it didn't happen. So I'm hoping 2024 is that year.
I believe in you.
But I do think that they overlap, and I think that um, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, the way that I approach it is really thinking about it as on a project by project basis.
Okay.
So from my end, I'm not looking at it as I've got to put, a calendar out for the year. I'm looking at it as I want to make sure I'm including as many unique, new, diverse artists as possible this year. So then that's that piece that then allows me to get to that next level with the creation of programming. Um, you know,
Very cool.
yeah, and again, the creative. I would like the creative part to overlap, and it does in some ways. We do have wellness programming, we have art programming at TPG,
Oh,
so those
cool.
things allow me.
I didn't know
I
the wellness
produce some
program.
programs because I want to do them, right? I want to
Yeah.
take a wellness program, and the way to do it is to
Nice.
produce it.
There you go. I love it. And I love the art behind you, by the way. Is that yours?
No, the two pieces here are Danny Sands.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
she did those in one of our live programs in New York, and and I was like, I'm gonna take those with me when you're.
Yes, as you should. Very cool. And this is just curiosity. Why the Powder Group? I love the name for so many reasons, but how did you come up with that?
I mean, talking about branding, right? So,
Hmm.
this was again 21 years ago. I was creating this company, and I wanted it to be something that was very broad and generic, and wasn't like the lipstick crew or
Yeah.
makeup company. It had to be cooler than that,
Yeah.
and it had to be something that would allow me to work in any realm of
Any
communicating
medium
with it.
too.
Yeah, exactly. It works with hair, it works with makeup,
Hmm.
it works with nails, it works with all the creative beauty stuff because everything is either a powder, cream, or a liquid in
Yep.
any creative beauty industry. It's a powder,
Yep.
cream, or liquid or some form thereof.
Hmm.
And so, liquid isn't a very cool word. Cream isn't a very cool word and it's used in lots of other ways. Powder was the word I liked. And I started with the company being called just Powder. Um,
Cute. I didn't know that.
powder.com was taken,
Ah,
and this is back when like there weren't a lot of others. There was like
uh-huh.
.net, .org.
Sure.
And I wanted it to be taken very seriously as a company, so it needed to be a .com.
Hmm.
Powder.com was taken by a ski magazine, which I was like, can't be
What
mad
the
at
heck?
that. That's a genius name for a ski
It
magazine.
actually is. Yeah.
It's brilliant. And also like just cool. And I was like, okay, so then I ended up morphing that into the Powder Group.
Yeah.
Um, I'm glad that powder.com was taken because the Powder Group is a much better name.
So
And
cool.
definitely, and
And
it shares
TPG
who
is
we are.
cool.
And that was in a conversation with a friend of mine. We're trying to come up with how I evolved Powder. I said, well, this is about community. And I said, do I say the Powder community or Powder community? And then just the Powder Group came into my mind. I was like, and I said it out loud, and we kind of looked at each other. We're like, damn, that's it. It's the Powder Group.
Nice.
So I'm
I
very
love
grateful
that.
that you think it works.
It totally works. Can you share any tips or advice for aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself looking to incorporate more creativity and just branding?
Um, I think that, as I said, I think finding the things that give you joy
Yeah,
within your business,
as simple as
um,
that. Yeah,
that's an emotional piece, right?
yeah.
That's emotional. There
That's
are
also
things that I
spiritual.
don't love doing within
Yeah,
my business that are just tasks that I have to do, but being, able to share and celebrate and spotlight and be around a community of artists and celebrate those artists and inspire them with our educational programming and giving them something to hope for and giving them something to connect to, and doing the same thing for our brand partners, being able to have them feel like they're a part of something bigger than selling a product. And
I
I'm
love
very
that.
fortunate that they do that. So find the thing that gives you joy. Connecting,
Mhm.
it gives me joy. That's
Yeah,
creative for me. It's like I have to think that through. Like, who is this brand gonna, what artist, what brand, what topic is this subject that we're going to talk about in this program? And so I feel like, finding ways to incorporate spirituality, as we talked
Mm-hmm.
about before,
Yeah.
in
Good
whatever
job.
means that is for you,
Yes.
and finding ways to incorporate creativity in whatever means that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all, I assume the great majority of folks that are listening or watching to your podcast are creatives.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an innate connection to creativity because it's your job, right?
Yeah.
It's your
Mm-hmm.
job. So you're lucky at that. I'd actually reverse this out and say, be sure that in addition to the creativity, you take your branding and your marketing and your sales, because you're your own
Mm.
salesperson. Take all those things as important a topic for you to think
Yeah.
about running your business as the creative part of it. I think the spirituality piece of it is something that allows us to engage. I don't have to work with a consumer or an actor or
Mm-hmm.
a model. I work with the people who work with those folks, but I'm still working with hundreds of people, right? Over a
Yeah.
year, thousands of people over a year.
Yeah.
You're working with hundreds of people over a year. That's a lot of energy that's taken from you.
It
That's a
really
lot
is.
of chameleonizing you need to do to like fit every mold for that
Style
client.
stepping.
It was absolutely. And so I think the emotional piece, that spirituality piece you speak of so
Yeah.
eloquently, that is
Thank
really
you.
important. That mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
is really important, because if you're not allowing yourself to refill that and you're just constantly being drained, it's a really tough thing. It's a tough thing.
Absolutely, you couldn't have said it best yourself. I mean, this is exactly why I wanted you on Mindful Artist Podcast. This is why I wanted to create this. It's a mind, body, soul kind of thing for me. I mean,
Yeah.
literally the name of my book, Love is Art, Art is Love, is because I couldn't have one without the other. Like, for me, they're both the same. Thank you so much. You're a delight. Like, this is so cool. I feel so good having you here. But before we go into like plugging in what projects you have right now, I wanted to do a little wrapping up Mindful Artists rapid cues and ask you some questions, just where you're at, intuitively answer it. Okay. So
Uh-oh.
question number one. Michael DeVellis, who is your hero and why?
Personally, my grandmothers collectively.
Yeah.
Um,
What are
on
their
my
names?
paternal grandmother's side, on my paternal grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
was a workhorse, like cared for her family like no one else, like did everything and anything to be there for her family. And whether it's, I remember sweeping our driveway at my parents'
Yeah.
house because she didn't want it to look anything less than perfect. Taking
Yeah.
care of all of her grandchildren every Sunday for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And my maternal grandmother, all of those things as well, but also balls out, uh, didn't give a fuck. Just do you do you.
Yes.
If they don't like
Nice.
it, don't worry about it. You do you, Michael. You take care of you. And just gave me that energy of support and unconditional support. They both passed when I was, before I
I'm
was in my
sorry.
20s,
Yeah.
or before I was far into my 20s. But they both gave me a steadfast understanding of how to be for other people and how to be
Yeah.
for yourself. And from an industry standpoint, Danny Sands, without a question, one of the most inspirational
Mm-hmm.
and powerful energies in our industry. She was the founder of Makeup
Agree.
Forever. She's a dear friend to this day. She has her tribe is people who care about her, and she cares about as a family, and that understanding of what that can mean to a person who is also a business person,
Yeah.
and how that business can feel like family. At the time when Danny was a part of the organization, it certainly did.
Yeah.
And now that she's no longer there, she's still ruling our tribe and taking care of
Mm.
the people who she loves. And so those, I would say those are the two. Everything's going to be a long answer. Sorry.
No, it's great.
I'll do
I'm
this
here
one
for
faster.
it.
Next
I'm
next
here
one's
for it.
faster.
The answers are wonderful. To the grandmas and Danny, we love you guys. All right, question number two. Your favorite music album of all time and why?
That's like asking me what my favorite food is. I'm going to say Journey Escape.
Yes, I'm here for Journey.
First
Yes.
concert, I thought Steve Perry was God and God
Mm.
incarnate. to this day, I'm so excited he is on the Dolly Parton album, doing a
The new
duet
one,
with
right?
Dolly. He's doing Open Arms
Yes.
with Dolly Parton on
So
her
good.
new rock album. He was a hero to me, and just
Mm,
energetically and visually, and the music spoke to me, and was my
so
first
cool.
concert I ever went to at
I mean,
16.
it's magical experience. Like listening to the musical is also spiritual too.
Yeah.
So cool, cool, cool. I knew you were gonna pick somebody rad. Okay. Last question for wrapping up Mindful Artist Rapid Cues. What is your favorite quote of all time and why?
Mm, I don't know. That's a really tough one. I might have to get back to you on that one. Um,
That's okay.
yeah.
We can leave a little teaser.
If I can quote my grandmother, my grandma
There,
Jenny, again,
absolutely. Yes.
and this is a direct quote.
Go ahead.
Fuck them if they don't like it.
Let's do it.
Sorry
Fuck
for
them if they don't
using
like
a
it.
F-bomb twice
Don't
on your
be
podcast.
sorry. This is
Fuck them if
okay.
they don't like it.
I love it. What
From
was
the
grandma's
words of
name, by
Jenny.
the way? Because we need to quote her for that. You said Grandma Jenny?
Yep.
Love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Michael, you're amazing. You're beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Where can we find you? Where can we support the Powder Group?
Absolutely. You
Yes.
can find the Powder Group at thepowdergroup.com. We're
Mm-hmm.
very good at branding, so everything is the same. So it's at the Powder Group on Instagram, the Powder Group on Facebook, thepowdergroup.com. You can also find us at onmakeupmagazine.com and at onmakeupmagazine on Instagram, and at Michael DeVellis for everything else.
Love it. Any things that you want to plug in? Any last minute projects
We have
or
oh man,
announcements?
we've got a very busy year coming up in 2024. So if you're a professional makeup artist, you can join our TPG Pro program. That is the core of our community. The core of our community is a paid for membership program, which allows us to really kind of separate out people who are super serious about their business and their career, and those who are sort of
I'm in
just
that group, guys.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
floating through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know those folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you can participate in our programming, whether or not you are a member or not. Some of our programming is exclusive to our members, or free for our members and paid for others. So it's really important that folks, have a place that they can go for inspiration, community, words of wisdom, especially as this generation of artists. And I don't mean age generation. I mean newer artists and creatives coming into the
Yeah.
community. Understand that it takes more than just the skill set. Understand that commitment to your craft means not only knowing how to cut hair or do makeup, but it means understanding the energetic spiritual side of being with others and providing service and being a service provider. It means upping your game and connecting to a technique that maybe you're not perfected at yet. It means connecting to community and supporting others. This is what it means. It's not as easy as finishing school, going out, get a job, work, make money. That's fine. But to become a truly mindful artist, which is the name of your podcast, which I love, it
Thank
means
you.
being a part of all these energies, right? And so I think that's the thing for me that we try to do at the Powder Group. And I hope that you guys will join us and be a part of our next glorious year of programming and amazingness and brands that love you and artists that surprise and support you.
Bravo, Michael DeVellis. Well said. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
You're
you
the
for having me,
man.
babe. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate
Always
you.
lovely.
Thank you. And you guys, this is the Mindful Artist Podcast. Andrew Velasquez right here. That song you're about to hear, Mi Corazon, you can download wherever you stream your favorite music. And if you are a creative person that balances your spirituality while being an entrepreneur, email me at mindfulartistpodcast@gmail.com. Maybe you'll be a guest as well. Also, if you're a fan of this, share this with your people that you love. Give us some ratings, give us some reviews. All those little things help you guys. It makes such a difference. And go follow the Powder Group. I'm going to put all the information in our description. Until the next time, you guys, make an impact in someone's life and go share love and light. Thank you guys. Bye,
Thanks for having
Michael.
me, babe.
Thank you.